me, running for City Council, is John Erskine. Mr. Erskine is a resident of Huntington Beach and has been for the past 12 years, married to a school teacher in the Costa Mesa School District. He is a lawyer, a real estate agent, and currently a Huntington Beach Planning Commissioner for the past 3.5 years. He has served as executive assistant to two Orange County supervisors and is a voting member on the Coastal Commission. John, welcome.
Thank you, Matt. It's great to be here.
We have to note for the public, however, you, of course, a resident right on the beach there, Huntington Beach. You are a surfer.
Former surfer.
A former surfer.
I'm afraid I spend a little bit too much time at work and planning commission meetings to get up early in the morning anymore.
But you surfed in El Salvador.
I surfed all over the world, Matt. I surfed in the North Shore of Hawaii, in France, off the coast of France, and all of Mexico and Central America, as well as up and down the coast of California. That's one reason I've got a great love of the coast and a great love of our city, Huntington Beach.
But not El Salvador lately.
Not lately. You would not want to be down there right now.
Not lately, right?
Right.
I see. Yes. In your statement, I don't know if a lot of people know about this or not, but as a planning commissioner, you authorized a matrix?
A notification matrix.
Notification matrix.
Well,
explain that a little.
Matt, that's a big word for a chart. And one of the reasons I pushed for that notification system on the Planning Commission is the criticism we've had most during the last 3.5 years I've been on the city's Planning Commission is that people, the public, doesn't know or do not know what's going on in the city. If you have a piece of property or you have a neighborhood issue or you have a business group issue, whether you're the Chamber of Commerce or just Joe Smith on a street that's being impacted by traffic, you want to know what Planning Commission and what City Council activities are affecting you. We have not been getting that notification out to the public. So I came up with an idea of a notification system where all the interest groups in the city could be listed down the left side of the page, and across the top side of the page would be all the issues that come up. And it's a system for the staff to hopefully better notify the public of what's important to the public. And if there's one criticism that I think we need to correct, and I intend to correct when I'm on the council, is to get more notice out to the public of issues affecting them.
So you're saying that there has not been, to this point anyway, enough participative government?
I think we hear every day from the Garfield night spot issue to the Moody Circle issue to the residents of the harbor to the flood control issues. The city is doing things that affect the public and they're not getting adequate notice. I think we need to do more of that.
Yeah. Here's an interesting insight I'm sure is available to us because of the planning commissioning duties. What is the relationship, if you could sum up quickly, the relationship between the City Council and the Planning Commission, and specifically now the study sessions that have been taking place?
Well, it's sort of an unusual relationship now, Matt, because 4 of the 7 planning commissioners are running for City Council. But in regular times, when we're not in this silly season, as it's sometimes called.
What does silly season mean?
Well, I think that's a term that some of the city fathers give to the 6-month period preceding an election.
Oh, I see.
Sometimes behaviors start to get a little more quirky. Typically, the Planning Commission's role is an advisory one to the City Council. And I think that this Planning Commission is a very intelligent one. I think a lot of us have worked hard studying the issues, particularly the redevelopment and the traffic and the growth issues that affect our city. And I think the Council is very much interested in getting our opinions right now. That's why we've had a lot of Planning Commission, City Council study sessions. But traditionally and legally, the role of a Planning Commission is advisory to the Council. Advisory on mainly land use matters. We don't get involved in animal control and social service and other issues like that. The council has a whole array of issues.
What interested you in the very beginning to become a lawyer?
Well, actually it goes back to politics. I started out in the 60s working for my father. My father ran for a state assembly, and I started walking precincts when I was 10 years old. And I really didn't know what it was all about, but I kind of was fascinated with the interaction between the public and elected officials and government. And I started back then. I majored in political science at Cal State Fullerton, got my BA, And from there, it was a natural succession to law. Some people say that law is a precursor for political service, and others say lawyers shouldn't be in political service. But I think that law is nothing more than understanding legislation and the process of making laws. And I think an attorney can bring a lot to even local government in the terms of drafting ordinances and coming up with laws that are legally supportable and that respond to the needs of the citizenry.
And understanding that legislation, it would be important then, and this is a question, important to tie the state, federal, local authorities together as in like
Absolutely.
a liaison?
Absolutely.
Right?
I think one of my strong points in my candidacy for City Council, Matt, is that I've worked with all levels of government. I've worked on the State Coastal Commission. I've been a voting member of the Coastal Commission. I've been involved in county government, working for 2 county supervisors for 3.5 years. I've been on the City Planning Commission for 3.5 years. I think that array from the state down to the local helps me understand what we need to do to get things through that help the public in the needs that they have. And I think that array of experience makes me one of the most experienced and qualified candidates for City Council.
Real estate, however.
Real estate, important background. Property rights are very important to the public, and they're very important to individual homeowners. There's 2 kinds of property rights, Matt. There's the property right that says I should be able to build whatever I want on my piece of property, and there's a property right that says I have a neighborhood and I have an existing home, and that property should be protected. What a planning commission does and what a city councilman can do is to balance the individual property rights with the property rights of the neighborhood and the community at large. And I think that balancing act is one that I've honed very finely, I hope, in my 3.5 years on the Planning Commission.
Yeah, I was getting back to your real estate background initially.
Well, real estate is a discipline to get a real estate license or to specialize, as I did in law school, in land use law and in legislative law. It helps you take the basic property rights that were handed down to us back from the Magna Carta days all the way to the present, and helps you understand that property rights and real estate are no longer just an automatic right to do whatever you want with your property. Land use and property rights or building on a piece of property are a privilege, and I think my real estate and my land use law background helped me understand that. It's a privilege that government gives to an individual property owner to do something with his property. At the same time, that privilege and those rights should be protected.
Besides land use, is there anything more specifically that you're, as a city councilman, that you would be gearing your attention towards?
Well, absolutely. I believe that one of the important land use questions facing our city and many cities right now is growth. How fast, how much? I believe strongly that we should have controlled growth. I believe that traffic is impacting a lot of our areas. My wife and I can't even get across Coast Highway right now sometimes to make a left turn. And so the redevelopment issues that are happening downtown, I see a lot of intensity potentially being approved there that will impact our residents. And I believe all the city council in 1987 and beyond needs to have a very close watch on growth in the city.
In what terms? Can you be a little bit more specific on that? For instance, you favor, and this might have an impact on PCH, a super street. You favor the super street?
Beach Boulevard?
Beach Boulevard.
I don't favor the super street, Matt, in the form that it was originally pushed by the County Transportation Commission with the flyovers and all of that.
Right.
I don't believe that the council supported it, and I wouldn't support it either as a councilman. I do believe that the widening of Beach Boulevard without impacting the commercial businesses, the light synchronization, can all make Beach Boulevard work a lot better. At the same time, we need to look at our circulation patterns in the rest of the city. One of the most ridiculous proposals I've heard in recent months is the proposal to widen and to extend Walnut from Main Street down to Beach Boulevard.
Why is that ridiculous?
Well, I think it's ridiculous at the present time because there are no land use proposals that are pending that justify that extension. And none of the residents, and again this goes back to my notice provision, none of the residents of Pacific Park, of Driftwood, of Huntington Shorecliff, those residents of those mobile home parks and some of the other condominium owners in that area have not been notified. That's why I pushed for a citizen advisory council, and I'm working with...
Was that 1984?
No, the Citizen Advisory Council that I'm talking about is one that we've just formulated. A couple of myself and one other planning commissioner have pushed the City Council to try and form a Citizens Advisory Committee that will be beyond just the neighborhood, what they call project area committees, and include a broader area of concern. And I think Walnut is a key issue, and I will not support a Walnut extension during my term on the council unless the residents come together and can support it in a way that it mitigates their concerns. I don't believe it's justified at the present time.
Your family's in the newspaper business.
They own a weekly newspaper in West Orange County, Los Alamitos, Rossmore, Cypress, La Palma.
So you grew up around that
I grew up in the Rossmore, Los Alamitos area.
But with a newspaper background, you grew up with your family.
I'll tell you what, Matt, I got bored silly with the newspaper business.
Really?
The only part I ever played in it was I did halftones. I did the camera work for the photos, and after that I decided it was better to either be surfing or going to Cal State Fullerton getting my degree.
Yeah, Fullerton, that's right. That certainly was an experience at Fullerton, I'm sure. Take a look at the city council chambers. Take a look at them now. And
I've seen them before.
In
yes.
10 years, John, where would you like to see Huntington Beach, and where do you think it will be?
Well, I think I could best respond to that, Matt, maybe by taking you on a little, you and the people who are watching, on a little geographic tour of the city, because I think the issues that I hope will be resolved by 10 years would be 1996, would be the following. I think if you look at East Huntington Beach, the impact of the sanitation district hopefully will be resolved in a way that does not continue to adversely impact with smell and other unpleasantries the residents of East Huntington Beach. The flood control issue. If we have another major wet season, rainy season, we may still have some problems with inoperable pumping stations and channels that aren't working right. We have to continue to make that a priority as we have in the past. You come down to the downtown part of Huntington Beach, you've got redevelopment. I think there's three positions you can take on redevelopment. One, it should happen at any cost and critics be damned. The second position you could take is I oppose redevelopment and it should never happen, leave it as it is. And I think the third and responsible position that one can take is I support redevelopment, it's the position I take. I support redevelopment, but it has to happen with care. We can't allow traffic and lack of parking and high-rise. We're talking potentially 8, 9 stories, which I don't think should happen. We can't allow that to impact the residents and the quality of life we came here to have. Moving up the coast a little bit, you have the Huntington Harbor area, which I feel has paid a lot of taxes to our city, an inordinate amount of taxes because the homes are very expensive there. And I don't think they've gotten a fair shake from the city. The clean water issues, the impact of the R1 height limits there. A lot of people are concerned about keeping those height limits on. Many of those problems have not been addressed by our city council, I think, in a forceful enough way. And we have a danger with the lack of circulation and clean water in the harbor of Huntington Harbor becoming a toxic lagoon. I don't believe that that should be allowed to happen by the city council. Other issues that we hope to resolve by 1996 are our traffic and circulation situation. We can't allow growth to turn all of our streets into Indianapolis 500s, and I hope that by 1996 we'll have grown a little bit, but hopefully not helter-skelter, and hopefully we won't have a congested future in 1996.
John, thank you very much for your time.